leading diagonals. Leading diagonals are the first of the two patterns we have in the diagonal group. The leading diagonals patterns also have a 5-wave structure that move in the direction of the larger trend. This pattern can only be found in waves 1 or A. What separates leading diagonals from the impulsive waves is the pullback in wave 4. In the leading diagonal pattern, wave 4 enters the territory of wave 2. This occurs because during wave 1 or A, people are still optimistic about the previous trend and they try to rejoin that market. After we finish a leading diagonal structure, we would complete one motive pattern. So we are going to expect a pullback that will take a shape of a correction. After a leading diagonal, there is usually a deeper pullback coming. We need to follow 3 rules also for leading diagonals to be sure we are on the right track. Wave 2 never falls below the starting point of the wave 1 is the rule number 1. So same as we have in impulsive and extended waves. Second rule is also the same. Wave 3 is often the longest wave, but never the shortest of the waves 1, 3, and 5. Wave 3 can be shorter than wave 1 or wave 5, but can't be shorter than both. Rule number 3 is different. Since we know that the wave 4 can enter the territory of wave 2 and usually do that, we need to add one more rule that will help us to separate leading diagonal from some sort of a correction. So we are going to say like this: wave 4 never falls below the ending point of the wave 2. So after a strong spike higher in the wave 3 and a test of the territory of the wave 2, we are going to watch that starting point as our short-term invalidation point. But again, we just have 3 rules to follow, and that's all. This is the $CAD chart on a daily time frame where we managed to spot a nice leading diagonal pattern developing on the upside. Now, if we start looking from the bottom to the top, we can see a 5-wave move. But what is important over here is that if you look at the purple wave 4, you can see that wave 4 enters the territory of wave 2. So we cannot call this a clean impulsive pattern. But because before the 5-wave move, so before the starting point of the wave 1, we are seeing some bearish momentum, we can see that the wave 1 is more or less just the starting point of the new trend. So we can allow that to happen at the starting points. But let's go step by step. Here is the better view on that wave 4 enters the territory of the wave 2. Now, inside of wave 1, we can see a 5-wave move, and if you look closer, you will probably see that over here also we have some sort of wave 4 entering the wave 2 territory. And since this is the wave 1, we can go and say this wave 1, purple, was itself a smaller leading diagonal pattern. After that, we had a pullback in the wave 2 that was nice and deep pullback, and after that, we had a 5-wave move to the upside. Over here, we had a clean and simple impulsive pattern. After that, a 3-wave move pullback come at the wave 4, and finally, we had a spike higher to complete the wave 5. So more or less, according to subwaves, we are fine. But we also need to go and see the rules. Again, we need to go and check if purple wave 2 holded above the starting point of wave 1, and that's correct. After that, wave 3 still cannot be the shortest wave of the waves 1, 3, and 5, and here we can see that wave 3 is bigger than the wave 1 and clearly from the wave 5, but we only need the wave 3 to be bigger than one of the waves 1 or 5. Now, since we have a different rule, we need to watch the wave 4 purple over here and the starting point of the wave 2, because this line drawn at the ended point of the wave 2 will be our invalidation point, and if wave 4 just tested this level, we wouldn't be able to go and call this the leading diagonal, but because we managed to survive and price just tested the territory of the wave 2 and spiked higher, we can go and say this is a perfect leading diagonal pattern. So we talked that after a leading diagonal pattern, we should usually see a deeper pullback. So we would look for a strong pullback after a 5-wave move that take a shape of the leading diagonal. Here is another example of the leading diagonal. In this case, that was in the Euro CAD. If we start looking from the left to the right, first of all, we can see that price pushed strongly lower. So more or less the trend at that stage was bearish. And once price started to change the trend, we had a 5-wave move to the upside. But over here also, wave 4 entered the territory of the wave 2. So we must go with a potential leading diagonal pattern. But let's go step by step and let's see each leg of this pattern to be sure that we are on the right track. Inside of wave 1, we can see a nice 5-wave move. After that, in the wave 2, we have a nice 3-wave move pullback, followed by a strong push higher, not so strong in reality, but wave 3 was a clean push higher. It ended slightly above the end of the wave 1, but that's all that's important to us. After that, we had a 3-wave move in the wave 4, and the final push higher in the wave 5. Now, here is the tricky part, and the part that we need to pay attention, the rules over here. We can see that the wave 2 hold it above the starting point of the wave 1, but if we compare the wave 1 and the wave 3, we can see that the wave 3 was the shorter than the wave 1. So what we need to do now is going to be to measure the wave 3 compared to the wave 5, and we can see that the wave 5 was smaller than the wave 3, and that's why this count is okay. Now, third rule is that yellow wave 4 should hold above the ending point of the wave 2, and that was also true. But I want now for you to see just how strong pullback happened after the 5-wave move completes. You see that price movement after wave 5 was a strong and sharp movement, but that's still just a 3-wave move, and that's all. Quick tip. Since we know that leading diagonal patterns appear only inside of wave 1 or A, and we know that waves 1 or A starts when the trend is changing, we can expect to see this type of move in the opposite direction of the trend or when the trend ends.